Hello, welcome back, everybody, to another year of the Sunday Podcast.
I'm Ollie Lamb.
And I'm Matt Seddon.
Back in 2025 for our 5th season. You can expect more of this.
He's claiming that he was ill before the semi-final, whatever. But, you know, I just feel like at that point he was just looking for attention.
And some of this.
You normally say, no human is limited. So I can't limit myself, or I can't just say I can do.
As well as event coverage around all the major races on the UK circuit.
And if you're a fan of the pod, please give us a rating and review on your preferred podcast streaming service.
And if you want to stay up to date with all the latest news, give us a follow on Instagram at Sunday Podcast.
As always, thanks for listening. See you next time. And we hope you enjoyed the episode.
Hello and welcome back, everybody. As always, this episode is brought to you by sportshoes.com. Jess Bailey on the podcast today, a top athlete in her own right, but a supreme junior with a 5K PB of 15:07 at just 18 years of age. Based at Birmingham Uni, coached by Dean Miller, who we had on the pod in January. Jess spoke to us about life as a BUAC fresher, keeping it fluffy, whatever that means, and much more. Enjoy this one. Get to know Jess. She truly is the future of British distance running. Enjoy. Okay, Jess, first off, just welcome to the podcast. Thanks so much for coming on. What are you up to today? How's training been?
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. We've not done much yet today. We've been to the gym. It's a lovely day. We've been to the gym. We're going out for lunch. I've got a meeting with the physiologist and then I'm back in the pool. So it's quite a nice day.
Typical day for you on a Tuesday?
Yeah, typical Tuesday. I think in Birmingham, all our sessions are Monday, Wednesday, which is a bit different. It took a bit of getting used to. I first came in, I was like, this is not how we train. But now I'm fully adapted and I wouldn't go back. It's so much better.
Oh, yeah, just a day. Training a day earlier, doing a session a day earlier is like, wow, it can just throw the whole body clock off. So you won't do any running today. You're just going to go for a little splash in the pool and, yeah, get your gym done this morning.
Sauna, for sure. The sauna's a big one. I think we get like half of BUAC in the sauna because our physiologist, Dave Sheldon, did a study last year that said it was, I don't know, good aerobic benefits. So now everyone's kind of ran with that and goes all the time. But yeah, no running today. We run maybe 5 days a week. So Tuesday's a nice break, especially when we've got those key sessions Monday, Wednesday. You don't really want to be loading it too much in between.
Yeah. This sauna, is it on site? Is it at the uni gym?
Yeah, it's by the pool. And it's hot. It's really hot. I'm really bad at it. I don't like it at all.
Where are you at? Are you 10 minutes? Are you 15 minutes? What's the kind of goalpost that you need to hit when you're in the sauna?
Oh, in the sauna, I think it's you just got to get half an hour volume. So 15 or 3x10, I think. Not
that
half an hour in one
long.
go.
That is long. Jesus.
But before font, we got in such a rhythm where we were really, really good at it. We all went up to font for 3 weeks, came back. And I think because we'd just not done it for a while, we can't hack it. So I've not really got quite back to that yet, but hopefully soon. I feel like it's one of those things you've got to commit to. If you go half-assed, look, can I say that? Sorry. If you go
you can't say that.
Yeah, say what you want.
If you go now and again, it's not good. It doesn't really help.
Wow. So you are going every 4 or 5 days a week?
No, 2-3 days a week. Because I swim twice a week, so I just go in then, and then that third time I never go. So I'm gonna that's actually something I talked to Dean about the weekend. I was like, right, I'm gonna get this third one in. Yeah.
Yeah, that's mad. Half an hour in a sauna 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's only the proper BUAC lads, I think, do that much. Some of them do literally every day. I don't think that's healthy though. I don't think that's a good idea.
They just want to look shredded.
Yeah, it's good gossip in the sauna. I think good chat. It's where you meet all the people.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, crikey, how big's this sauna?
Yeah, big enough.
Big enough. Wow. Well, look, I think, Jess, I think already so many things to, I guess, get into in terms of your training, how your week's set up, even the fact that you're only running 5 times a week. And I think actually maybe it might be a good time to just chat about what a typical training week looks like for you, if that's all right, just to kind of frame the rest of the pod.
Yeah, I think it's really settled now. I guess it's I always forget what we did in winter when it's summer. You know what I mean? People ask you what do you do through October, November? I'm like, oh God, I don't know. Because we were running really not much then, maybe 30-kilometer weeks. But that's changed now, which is good. We're up to an acceptable week, which for us pretty much looks like Monday mornings tempo for most of the club. We think a lot of the time we go in the lab because Dave Sheldon can take the lactates and just kind of keep it really controlled because it's not a key session. And then Monday evening, the whole club comes down and we do drills and tech runs. So 30 meters, get your spikes on. And because I've done tempo, for me, that's normally the end of it, 6 by 30 meters, maybe a few 150 strides and then go home. for some of the guys who didn't tempo in the morning, they have to do tempo then. And we always laugh because we're like, oh God, imagine it's like 8 o'clock at night. It's awful. So we laugh and go home and have our dinner. But that's quite a nice Monday, I think, like technique based for sure. And then Tuesday is what we've got today, which is S&C and a swim, maybe like an hour roughly. I think swim's so like, because it's no body weight, you can just keep going. It's quite nice, like just really easy vibes. And like I've got headphones now for the water. So it's just like quite a lot of fun. And then we have like key sessions Wednesday, Saturday. And then in between that, there's Thursday gym and Thursday long run, which I think is really quite controversial. And we still call it a Sunday long run. It's just definitely not a Sunday. And then Sunday we'll go on an easy run and maybe a swim, and that's about it. It's quite nice. It's a chill week.
So do you listen to your Sunday podcast on a Thursday?
I would listen to my Sunday podcast if I was doing foot drills, because we do like a bit of sometimes on a Friday, like we go into the place called the dojo, which is like a big room with a load of mats, and it's just like foot drills technique with one of my coaches, Jeffro, and just strengthening like all those muscles around the ankle. And I think that's quite a nice time to like listen to podcasts.
How many Sunday podcast episodes have you listened to, Jess?
I used to be an avid Sunday podcaster because I ran on a Sunday.
We've gone downhill. We've lost the listener over the years.
I listened to Dean's and I remember Jess Judds. I really like that one. Yeah, I did listen to that one. I've listened to a few. I do like them. I just don't listen to a lot of any like Spotify. I didn't have Spotify for like a year as well. I'm back on it now.
Oh, no, it's fair enough. I don't have any music streaming platforms. I don't pay for. I just don't really listen to music.
Do you listen to the Sunday podcast?
Do I listen to it back?
Do you listen to it?
I actually don't listen to it back. Sometimes I remember in the early days, I used to try and give it like 10 listens and try and like, sort of just click on it loads of times if it worked.
Just to get the views up.
Just to get the clicks up early days. That's, you must have one of the best performances per kilometer ratio that there is. Like, for example, you run the least amount of miles to run 15:07. I mean, 15:07 is an incredible time. You spoke about those sort of 30, 40K weeks. So what's been your peak week through the winter? Not that, of course, we know volume is not the underlying factor to success in the sport, but it is rather impressive that you can run. I think most guys would be impressed to run 15:07 off 30, 40K a week.
Yeah, no, and to be fair, like that was very much like October to December, like 30. So it was like 30, and then it was generally like 35s. And then by like Eurocross, we were like 45, 50. And then for the second half, like January, February, I think we were sitting like 50, 55 kilometer weeks. And now we're more like probably like consistently 60. So it's just something we've built like across the year. But I don't think until we get back to the winter block, we're not going to move that on any further. But I think especially like going into Eurocross, I did feel like we've really not run like an awful lot. We didn't do a Sunday long run for a good couple of months. But that was just kind of being really careful going into uni. And because I'm decent, I'm not a good swimmer. I'd never win anything. But like I'm good enough that I can get the aerobic benefits out of it, which is quite nice. And I did a bit of training with the triathlon team here, only very rarely. I'd ask all the time. I loved it. Because it's like 6:15 on a Tuesday morning, which like I can hack the early mornings, but you're not getting enough sleep, especially when we do drills the night before. So your recovery's just not great. So I'd always ask Dean, I'd be like, oh, please can I go? And he always says no. But sometimes I've been like a handful of times, and it's great fun.
No, I just think that it's incredible how little you're running, but you've run so fast. I mean, what does Dean say about that? What do you think about it? Because it must be exciting knowing that you can just layer on a little bit more. I guess your sessions. I guess you're not running, like you say. If you don't do a long run, that's obviously a large part of the week that you're losing. But are your sessions, what sort of volume are you getting up to in your sessions? Are you still hitting like some really good 5K?
The sessions are decent. Yeah, and especially coming into uni, I was like not surprised. Like I expected a jump, but like compared to all the sessions I did at home, obviously it's going to be more volume. I'd say like in the winter, I'd say the volume of the sessions like 8 to 10K. Now it's probably like I don't know, probably like more like 5 to 9 being on the track, and then you've got to add in the warm up and the cool down. So it's not mega by any means, but you felt like you've done a session. But I think that's definitely what excited us most, like around the 5K and even around British Champs, is because like we know what we're doing, and that's like we're definitely looking like ahead. And even just knowing that like next year they're all really excited because it's like Mission 2026 with the Europeans being in Birmingham, and so like all those, like just knowing the room we've got to grow, I think is what's obviously hoping we stay healthy and stay well and it all works out. But I think just knowing like even just I'm really excited to double run. Like I really want to. I ask all the time, and it's just
never double date.
Absolute no go. I've doubled cross trained, like swim and bike, and I've run and biked. So I've done a bit of that, and we did do a bit of biking for our kind of through April, but it's kind of slowed off again now. But I do love a double day. I really like it fills your whole day. It's so great because I love napping, and like I like quite like baking. So I like do the first thing, have a nap, make something, go for the second thing, come home, go to bed. I think it's so much fun.
So true. I think
It's a
one
bit
of
sad,
the
that, isn't
interesting.
it? But
It's it sounds like a pretty good life to me. One of the interesting things with you, and I just think girls your age as well, the fact that you race over 5K on the track, but your cross country is often shorter, or if not like the same. So when you talk about doing this low volume early winter, is that because you probably did those long runs and stuff you probably didn't need as much of because you're only racing, was Eurocross 4K or 5K?
yeah, it's like 4.5. I don't think you need it so much, and also just like with the uni sessions being like higher volume than I was used to, you wouldn't want to like up everything at once. So it just kind of allows us to fully get at them and protect them a little bit, I think, which is quite nice. I think it surely I definitely would have benefited from a bit more, but just using the pool really, like, I think closed that gap quite a lot. I think a 5K though on the track, that takes it out of you. I had no idea. Like, I was out of it for a whole week. I mean, I did get really ill that night. And then I think it was the Thursday morning after we did like the 15:07 down here, it was the first run I'd done afterwards, and we were trying to get ready for Podium 5K. And we did like 5 threads off a walk just to see if I was okay. And I got like 59, 60, 61 for 300 meters. And Dean was like, this is the most humbling day you've ever had. And I was like, I know. So we didn't run. Like, I was not well, but it was crazy.
Wow, seems like you managed to squeeze all the seconds out of that 5K though, right? I think one thing that's interesting about you, obviously coming up to the end of your first year at Birmingham now, did you kind of think coming in that these are the sorts of performances that you wanted to do at the end of your first year, or have you exceeded, I guess, your own expectations?
Yeah, it's definitely gone so much better than I'd hoped for. I think it's the first half, like going into Eurocross, like I very much wanted a medal. I was like, must have been like 8th the year before, and I was so disappointed. Like, I was like crying to my dad, and I had like a little training journal back then, which is quite nice to look back on, but I'd written down, I was like, oh, I'm getting a medal next year for sure. So those like first few months were probably like as expected, like second at Liverpool, like a decent 5K, but then kind of coming out of that and coming into January, February, especially like British champs and even just this side of like Font Romeu, like I would never have expected to kind of make the jump side 4. And I think, to be honest, I've probably been sitting a similar place the past few years, so it's really nice to see. But Birmingham's quite impressive.
It's an incredible CV for a fresher. I mean, what's your highlight of the year so far? I know you've still got a large part of the summer to come, so big goals this summer. Highlights so far though at Birmingham? I
think this is going to be quite a really cliche response, but like BUAC cross country, it's something that I didn't even know about before coming to uni that much. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, what's that? Best weekend of my life, mate. I loved it. And it was even just like, it was 8K. So like, I've never done longer distances, but my physiology all suggests like I'm better the longer it goes. So even I was a bit nervous. I was like, that's a really long way to run quite fast. But like with those crowds, like all the people lined up down the back, like everyone was just screaming. I was like, I got such an adrenaline high, and all day I was just high as a kite. It was the best race I've ever done by a long way.
It was a good race. The crowds were epic as well.
I think with Birmingham as well, because we take the numbers. We've got like, 100, 200 people there. Like some unis, like obviously smaller, their clubs are smaller. They've only got so many people. We've got such a community. Like that noise wall, you can't really match it. It's quite fun.
Absolutely. And I think, yeah, like you mentioned, Birmingham is massive at BUAC Cross. And one thing we did want to ask you as well, like we hear a lot of people talking about, I guess, the Loughborough bubble, right? What it's like to be in Loughborough. What is the Birmingham bubble like? And is there a Birmingham bubble? What's the slang? What's going on down there?
What's the Loughborough? What's a bubble? Like just the club?
Does Birmingham have a bubble? Does Birmingham have any slang? Is there any slang terms that you lot use at training? I'm intrigued. So I remember it was last year and I first heard the term washed from the guys at Oxford. And honestly, they were saying this every session. Someone had a bad rep and it was like, oh, they're washed. And that was like running slang that I hadn't heard of yet. And obviously now it's commonplace. But I wonder if Birmingham has any slang, like whether some of these sessions have like a nickname or, yeah.
We have like keeping it fluffy. That's the only one that comes to mind. Like we definitely have a fair few. But I don't know if
fluffy. What does that mean?
That, then yeah, like keeping it fluffy. So if you're doing tempo, I'll keep it fluffy. Like you know, it's one of those, you go like a Monday you're going to keep it fluffy because it's like keeping it chill and calm.
Right.
That's the only one that comes. We must have quite a few to be fair, but that's Dean's one. That one's
I'm
kind
sure
of
you
funny.
do. Dean's will keep it fluffy on a Monday. Nice.
We've got I wouldn't call it a bubble because it's so big. It's like huge. But we've got such a good community because like, I feel like everybody knows everybody. And like, it doesn't matter how good you are, how fast you are. Like, I'm friends with like everybody in the club, no matter what. It's not, in fact, it's almost irrelevant. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really know what speed these people are that I'm friends with. Everyone just kind of runs together. What's annoying is on group run, and I had a go about this on Sunday, is they bloody like they walk every time they get to like a stairs or a kissing gate. So I'm going to actually challenge that next. But apart from that, it's really professional.
So what are
I
you
was
doing
not
on
happy.
what do you do? Just blitz through the gate or like hop the gate or something?
Well, no, you can walk through the gate, but you'd get annoyed. Like Lucy Jones came with us on Sunday for long run, and she was like, "What is this? Why are we walking half the run?" Because like they go through the gate, but then you can start running then, but they
People
walk
don't
for,
get
like,
going after. Right.
And it used to be like waiting for the people from behind because you don't want anyone to get dropped. But everyone's gone home now, so we've just got quite a tight group left, and it's like we don't need to walk right now. We can go. It's fine. But it always makes me laugh.
Thing is,
You said
as
you
a
may
fresher,
take control of that next year. You got to wait to be a second year before you can do that.
Well, no, yeah, I think really, I don't think I should say too much yet. But I know once all the freshers come in September, you can kind of start a new rhythm. Even just like we always set off late, but that will never change. So you have to just accept that. And they've tried that to change that before, apparently. But I'm not going to bother with that. But we need to keep it running, you know.
yeah, you can't throw your weight around as a fresher. Hey, I mean, does captaincy at Birmingham interest you? Because like obviously, yeah, here you are already trying to make rules on the Sunday podcast. I mean,
I will try and influence for sure. No, I would love to be a captain, but it's so time consuming that I'd never go for it. I think it looks like we've got really nice captains this year, and our captains last year were great. But I almost think what's so great about BUAC is a lot of the time our captains are like not as good. And I think that's so nice because like we go to the committee meeting where everyone votes and decides, and they generally are just going to pick who they think's best for the role. Like it's just the opposite of elitist. And I often think that actually someone who probably has more time at training, that they don't need to focus on getting their best possible session. They can be there, talk to the freshers, talk to the people, do all that like networking that you probably need to do as a captain, and kind of, I guess, compromise a bit on their own training, which is like the best sort of captain we can have.
Absolutely. One thing as well, Jess, what are you studying? What is kind of life day to day? Obviously, we've talked about your training, but how many lectures do you have each week? What are you doing kind of in between training, studying, and baking cakes?
I do a lot of baking. I hate this question because I do sports science. It's so cliche, but I really enjoy it. Like it's quite an academic course, and it's really not many contact hours. I don't know how many, maybe like 10 hours a week. Like, and you get like a bit of practicals and a bit of work. But other than I think there's 2 10-week terms, and there's really not a lot outside of that, which was intentional. Like I considered coming in and doing maybe like biochemistry or biomed. And it was, my dad's annoyed I didn't do that, to be fair, because like I have the academic ability to do it. But the reason I'm going to Birmingham is basically because that's where I think I can become the best athlete I want to be. And I don't really want to then have to compromise that with like the degree. And I think anyway, like if I did biochemistry, I'd come out of it and probably want to go into the sports sector. So I was like, why make it harder than it needs to be, I think. But it is really, really easy to balance like what we need to do, other than like exams falling in like maybe when we'd want to be on camp. But it's exciting. Next year I'm on placement as a physiologist with Dave, with our physiologist, which is nice. A lot more like hours, but I'm really excited to do it. I think it'll be fun. Like we've only like took bloods once and I was really bad, but we'll get given a sport. So I'm hoping to do like triathlon or cycling because their times are different to our training, and just you go down and like do whatever sport they need really, which I think will be quite cool.
That's very cool. Or you could just be testing yourself instead of Dave. Just move out of the way, Dave.
Yeah, one day, no. I did tell him I'm rooting for his job, but not for like a good decade, I think.
How many people does he deal with then on a weekly or daily basis?
That
he must
guy's
be the world's busiest physio.
Yeah, no, because he's like he does like physiology for all the endurance sports. So he does. To be fair, the cyclists and the triathlete clubs here, I don't think are quite as big. I think athletics and power takes up the biggest proportion of his time by a long way. And then maybe I think he's like swimming and rowing. So he's definitely like he's obviously biased to athletics, so we have no problem like getting in the lab. But it is packed. Like there's always someone in there, really.
Yeah, he does sound like a busy man. It's interesting. You know, when you went to Birmingham University, the biggest thing for you, the most important decision was it needs to work for my running. Yeah, you saw this as 3 years. Where I mean, what are your goals at the end of 3 years? Coming in, you were like, right, by the end of the 3 years, 4 years, whatever it is, I want to be X athlete.
Thing is, I always get like scared putting almost like a number on it because I think things can change so quickly. Even just like if all my, like I wrote down goals in January at New Year in like I got like a little book, and we've passed all of them already. But like, and then some years I wouldn't have done that, but actually like the training went the best we could. We did the best we could. Like, and it's like, I feel like it's unfair to get to the end of the year and be like, oh, I didn't reach any of my goals, but actually it's been really successful. I think obviously like it'd be naive not to, like, we're looking potentially, it's the Commonwealths next year, like we want to try and get that standard in like a qualified race and at least just get on the start line to the trials. I think I become a senior and just like not like aiming to get in them, because that's really quite like a hefty challenge, but just going to the trials and being like a competitive athlete, I think is kind of how you start those like next few years. And obviously there's LA 2028, but I'm still quite young there. But I think again, just going to the trials and seeing how competitive we can be, and then looking, I guess, at like 2030.
In terms of competing like on a university level, because obviously you've got a lot outside of that. Obviously you mentioned some of those competitions, but when it comes to actually putting on that Birmingham vest, do you feel pressure being a big name in that university setting?
I think at the moment I've still got a bit of a buffer as a fresher. You know what I mean? Like, I guess there's pressure, but I wouldn't really see myself as one of like the elites, even just, I guess like we are up there in the club, but I'm just quite young. So I feel like if I go to books and don't do so well, it's like, oh, it's your first one here. Like you'll learn, it's fine. But I do think I'm sometimes a little bit naive to the pressure. I think it's probably there. Like, there's definitely even just like, we'll get scholarships next year. And in fact, we already have. And even for the year after, I'm sure it'll be fine. Definitely probably pressure there that I don't even clock into, that I should maybe should be more switched on. But it's quite nice because then you can like race free. But I think especially books was really quite books track was quite a unique race because it's like competitive, but not your senior British champs. And we were kind of in a position where it's like, you really should be medaling here. And I don't know, you'd get that anyway in under 20 champs, but it did feel a bit different. I mean, it was fun, but it was a different type of race, I thought. And even just with all the heats and the semis, and that was my fault for choosing the 1500, but like, they just kept going. I was like, oh, are we not there yet?
I've got to warm up again? Jesus.
Actually. Oh, I know. And then it's like, you just go back to the hotel and I was like, well, I can't do anything. And we had no work to do. If we had work to do, then I could have just revised. But I was like, what do I do? It was a nice weekend though.
Practice. And I think when I caught up with you a couple of weeks ago at Birmingham, you said, you really wanted to work on that 1500 this year. You ran a PB the other day. Congrats there. Have you got more in the tank?
Yeah, I hope so. I always feel like every time you run a 1500, you come off it and you're like, I need another. And I was like, I was a bit annoyed at first because we were like half a second off 4:12, which is, you're always half a second off something. Dean's like, that's the most ridiculous thing you've ever said. I was like, okay. But I was just
4:12, hardly a barrier.
Literally, I know it's not a round number. It's not like a multiple of 5. Like it means nothing. But I was like, oh, I do really need to do another one now. Like I think it's the Europeans and the European trials at the end of the month, and I've got a 3K in 2 weeks that's quite exciting. But other than that, we've got no 15s planned, and I was like, I don't care. I was like, we need to do one for sure. And I think, to be fair, like Watford was the perfect race. Like it had a really good field of men. Like the weather was great, and I was on like really quite cracking into the last lap, and then my last lap was like 68, 69. I was like, oh, my bad. But next time, I think give it a few weeks, and you get like deeper into the summer season, you can give it another go.
What's it like racing with the men? And do you enjoy taking some scalps? I'm sure you take some in training as well.
Yeah, I love getting to train with the men, especially just because like aerobically, normally I wouldn't have necessarily many people to train with. As soon as we go to the speed in the summer, like I'm dropped by some people like that barely run. It's almost entertaining, especially in the winter. It's so good just to go to Metchley and have like millions of people to run with. And even if I'm having a great day or a really bad day, there's always people there, which is quite nice. I think the races are fun. The races are fun because also like no one really cares who you are. They're just like bodies in a race, which is what Dean says. He's like, they're just faceless people, just try and pick them off one by one. And it's nice to have a race so stretched out, whereas I feel like sometimes the girls' races, everyone's kind of similar. So you've got that big pack, and it's really good practice, but like to try and get the best time, it can be you've got to be in the right place, and you've got to get a bit lucky, I think. We do a 300 session that starts aerobic. We're doing it this Saturday, like 5 frees, 4 frees, 3 frees, 2 frees, 1 free, with like big set breaks. At the start of it, I'm flying, and by the end of it, I'm last. And I really like it because you slowly see the different physiologies like pass each other. But it's quite nice that everyone's got respect for each other. It's cool.
That sounds like a fun session, actually. I might have to pinch that. I mean, who's the fastest guy at Birmingham that you've scalped? Who has the best PB that you've done over in an aerobic session? Expose them.
Well, I had one absolute in like early January, I had a really good one at Metchley, and I was like, oh, like I didn't know anybody, so I didn't know names. And Dean was like, oh, who are you running with today? I was like, oh, like Ollie Smart. I can't remember who else. There was like 3 people who I shouldn't have really been running with, and I think they had a bigger session in the end anyway. But sometimes I do sessions, and Dean's like, do you know who that is? And I'm like, no. And he's like, you should. But it's changed now. And he had to give me a pep talk in March, you know, especially going into Font Remote. He was like, right, you're used to running with these boys, but you know, they are like sub 4 1500 runners. Like, you're not going to be with them anymore. I was like, no. And he was like, no, like now we're going into the faster reps. Like you, and now I train with the girls, which is so nice because I can like they're my friends, which is quite fun. But yeah. The boys are funny sometimes, especially when it's like a big group, and especially when it's all the fresh lads. I think they're a bit scared to say anything. I'm like, hi. But no, it's good because I've got training partners all year round.
I was hoping you would say Ben Gardner. I thought you and him had a great rivalry.
Oh, yeah. Oh, have you seen his ACTC video? We raced against each other at the 5K back at Podium in October, November. But we finished a second apart, which I won. So I was gassed. I didn't even know he was there. I didn't even know I was a target. And then I watched back their ACTC video, and he's on voice call to Dean going, right, how are we going to beat Jess, right? And Dean's there on the phone giving him all the ways to beat me. I'm thinking, we just had a call about how I was supposed to run, and now you're telling him. I was like, but it was fine. We're actually really close 5K wise, but he's in shape at the moment. He's flying.
He is doing well. And I think there's a lot of, is there a lot of people like that in Birmingham now, like who are just going all in? When I spoke to him, he's got a great story. He's going all in, worked in Sainsbury's for years, saving up because he obviously had World Juniors in the back of his mind, or works in a running shop as well. He was working a couple jobs, studying, and now he wants to go all in as well. See, like you said, you mentioned the Commonwealths and the impact that's having on Birmingham. Kind of everyone's getting their head down next year and going to try and qualify for it.
Yeah, they talk about it a lot. And again, it's something I'm a bit naive to, but I think especially even just the coaches, like who is there here that we realistically could at least get to the trials of that, I guess. And the thing is that there are a lot of people, but we've got a lot of people leaving this year for America. Like I think there's like a whole big group of lads who are really quite a core part of BUAC, and even just like the vibe BUAC has. And it'll change, and that happens, I'm sure, like every couple of years. But there's at least like 6-7 of them all going, which I think is going to make it feel very different.
Good dear. Bad news for Birmingham.
We'll get.
I'm sure all the other unis will be really sad.
We had an open day on Saturday, and I love helping out and stuff like that. But I think we talked a good game, so hopefully we'll get a few people from there.
Speaking of the US and stuff, is it something that you considered? Obviously, 2 years ago, probably, or kind of year and a half ago.
I considered it quite low level, you know, and you like vaguely look into it, but never got to a point of like actually reaching out to anybody or doing it properly. I think we heard so many like of the stories, and I think it definitely can work. And I know a lot of people who've they've like gone for a year and been like, end of the day, it's a free year. And if you don't like it, just call it a gap year and come back to the uni, which actually, I think that's really smart, to be fair. And obviously my sister's going, and I think hopefully, and I think it's perfect for her because she's a good runner, but she's not like aiming to create a career out of it. Whereas I was just a bit worried, especially with like the business setup, that you'd kind of get used to do really good performance at 20, 21, 22. But actually I'm looking to be my best at 28, 26, 27, you know what I mean? Later in the career. And I think if you get the right place, I'm sure it works fine, but it's how to do that. But I think as a master's, like even then, like you know more about your training, you know what you're doing. I think that's definitely a really good option for a lot of people.
Definitely. I think anytime someone is successful at your age, 19, 20, a lot of it has to be down to kind of what they did in their childhood, what they did in their teens. And even though you might not have been training super hard, you were a little unique. And I think one of the things you did was mountain running, fell running. Talk about your starting out in the sport, full stop, and the impact your parents had as well, because I think obviously you're exceptional over the hills. And is it still a passion of yours that you've had to put on the back burner because you're now prioritizing the track?
Yeah, no, I still love mountain running. I think for me it's even just the community over anything. Like they are such lovely people, but the problem is generally like mountain running peaks at the very similar time to track. And in 2022 I did do both. So I went to like this world mountain running race, and like 8 days later I was at the European under-18s, which actually looking back was really stupid. Like we should not have done that. Someone should have told us not to do that. You know what I mean? But it was great fun. Like I had a brilliant summer, but you just can't really do both. You have to pick one or the other. I think I started in the sport back the typical like year 7 route. Like I went to high school, you did like your school cross country, went to English schools, really enjoyed it, but was like still quite I'd say a competitive swimmer who didn't win anything, but like I swum most of the time. And then it wasn't until kind of COVID where it started to like turn, and then COVID happens, and then I just kind of ran all the way through COVID and came out a lot fitter. But like, I didn't really get into track maybe until I was a bit older, like 15, 16, just because we didn't really have a very good track near us. And like, our club was fully cross country mountain running. So we did spend like kind of most of that, like the bottom half of that high school was just a lot of mountain running and a lot of cross country. Like the mountain running is so much fun because it was like, some of it was really steep and you just bomb it back down. And there's some like the best days, I think. Sometimes I think it helps aerobically. Like once you get to under 17, they do like 6.5, 7K. And often it's like 30-degree heat. Like it's quite challenging, but it's definitely good for your fitness. It definitely translates. So then once you want to start getting more like fine tuned on the track, it just doesn't balance. But the World Mountain Running Championships were like the best week of my life to date. Like still, and that was a long time ago now. It was just, we went to Thailand and we literally just, I mean, we messed about for a week and then went and did really well. Like it was really a lot of fun. We were playing with elephants and like exploring Chiang Mai. And once it got to the days before, we got serious and like locked in and like made sure we were fully rested. But it was a holiday really.
Was there specific training you would do back then to obviously qualify for the World Mountain Champs and stuff? Would you be doing specific sessions on the hills, or is it just a case of you would just get out and just do your runs over some pretty hilly terrain?
Yeah, I think it's like a combination of both, because all of our, like living in the Lake District, all of our easy runs were really hilly. And like we went on quite a few then. So like now if I go home, I make a conscious effort to find the flat routes because I'm wanting to recover on those runs. But like when we were younger, that didn't really matter. So we'd literally just go off. Like some of our Sunday long runs had like 600, 700 meters of like elevation in it. So we did loads back then, like, which it was really fun. Oh, it took us a long time. We went out for like, we'd go out like the four of us. We were again, a silly thing to do. We were a bit too young, but we'd go out for like 2 hours, basically just like exploring the fells. And like once we brought back a sheep once, like, because it was like this baby lamb that was dying, and then raised it at our friend's house. But like all these little things we'd see like on these runs, because it was completely rural. But I think that, and then, yeah, we do like hill sessions. So we live next to this place called Hode, and it's just one big hill. So there's a million different things you can do on it, and you just run up it and then run back down. And that was like the extent of our mountain running training.
You glossed over this sheep. Where's the sheep now?
I think the sheep's dead. I'm not gonna lie. We found this like baby lamb in the bush, and it was like all gunky and horrible. And one of my friends was a farmer on the run, and like, because everyone's farmers in Cumbria, she wouldn't touch it because it was gunky. I carried that thing at like 13 years old, back home, and then it survived and all, but my arms were dead. Wasn't worth it really. But yeah,
what a contrast to some people's upbringings. What a great teen era you had, saving sheep. Poor thing, yeah, he's probably someone's roast dinner now.
Yeah.
So, and then through all of that, I mean, you start having Dean becomes your coach. 2023, maybe 20.
Like
when?
September. This year, like
September.
You know what I mean, like as of a fresher, yeah.
24, yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm just thinking you're older than you are, and that relationship has been, amazing. You obviously speak so highly of him, and he's done a fantastic job with you as well, and Birmingham University, full stop. So when did you start talking to Dean? Through the summer a little bit, just to connect?
A little bit. Basically, his dad coached me at home. It's a bit weird. So me and Dean lived,
I knew
like,
there was a connection there,
away.
right? Yeah, there we go. That's the connection.
Well, I was coached, like self-coached by my dad for like ages, even though my dad got into running after me. So it was like the wrong way around. So we didn't know what we were doing. Then we got coached a lot by Matt Long. So he supported me all the way from like year 10 up until uni. But through Matt, we met Dean, and we were talking to Dean, and we were like, oh, we live in Ulverston. And he was like, me too. And then we met his dad. So we met everybody the wrong way around. But basically his dad, Pat Miller, like basically ended up doing most of my coaching really in the past year. And he's really smart. And he's basically Dean, just more chill. But then, all the training has been very similar. So like the training transition wasn't too bad at all. But yeah, I guess I'd met Dean ages ago, but like I properly started working with him in September. And I can't imagine we've only known each other that long, right? You'd think we've known each other years. It's really peculiar. It's a good relationship. It works really well.
Was that a factor in?
Geeky.
Yeah. Sorry, was that a factor in going to Birmingham, or because you knew you were going to Birmingham, you wanted to get in touch with Dean before, or was he a pull?
He was definitely a pull, and like having worked with his dad, and then going, and to be fair, there's not like a whole lot of choices in the UK. You know what I mean? Like there's kind of 3 or 4 main setups, and I'd been to Birmingham quite a bit. They did push the recruitment. Like I'd been down for the Ivy League a year or two before and stayed with some friends, because in fact, Ellen Ware, who was a mountain runner, who also comes to Birmingham. So there'd been a couple of weekends where I'd come down. So they definitely like pushed it a bit, but then just going and seeing what their club was like, I was like, I don't think you can replicate this anywhere else. Like that's such an inclusive environment, I think.
That's intriguing. The recruitment element. I don't think we've spoke to someone who's been directly recruited. Compare Loughborough and Birmingham's recruitment tactics, techniques. Did Loughborough try and recruit you as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think Birmingham will probably start earlier. And also because I had that connection through Matt, he was like, yeah, come
Of
down and
course.
train with us. So I met them through that as well. And then, and like, I just saw it as a trip to the Ivy League. And obviously I turned to, like, Naldine's like, yeah, obviously we were trying to, like, get you in Birmingham. I was like, oh, I was just having a great weekend. But they definitely, like, that was definitely strategic. I didn't really notice at the time. Loughborough, to be honest, I've never even trained at Loughborough, so I don't even know what it's like. I just know that, I don't know, there's a lot of different groups, which is, I mean, if that's how you want to, I don't know if it's still the same, but when I was looking into it, there were a lot of different groups, and I was like, that's great if that's how you want to train, but I just quite like the more open, like, we went to Birmingham and their big selling point was all the coaches talk to each other and they talk to your home coach. But even just like, so Dave, the physiologist, talks to the physio, talks to the S&C guy, like, it's all one big kind of, how can we get the best out of the athlete, which I'm sure Loughborough do too, but Birmingham really like pushed that quite hard, and that was something that really appealed to us. So then, to be honest, I was sold to them like a year before coming to uni, but I just didn't tell them, and then got like got a scholarship. I was like, I'm not telling them until they offer me something okay, and then I'll come. Apparently I played that well. I thought it was really obvious I wanted to come. Dean was like, yeah, we didn't know till like, I don't know, like when you decide in like March, May.
Dean's just sweating all spring,
yeah.
summer.
Apparently he was stressed. I had no idea. I felt bad.
What it's fascinating actually. It's good to hear that unis are out there putting a job, trying to recruit. Can you tell us your scholarship, or is that like
it's
disclosed?
not like that. No, it's just like basically we have like EdCap, which is like it's like pretty much the same as Loughborough. The problem is, to be fair, the problem with Birmingham is we have so many good people here, like they can't all get on our scholarship. It's called like the elite dual career pathway. So it's like S&C, like nutrition, like you get a bit of like financial footing, but it's nothing like America. Like it's not like amazing, but in the UK, like they're all kind of one and the same. And to be honest, it was like basically the same as the Loughborough contact. Only, to be fair, because they'd asked what the Loughborough one was and then matched it, which was my doing. I probably should have said that.
Look at you.
I need to stop talking now. But it's a really good one because like they support you like academically as well as the dual career part. And it's quite like wrapped around, and they have like, their meetings with basically it's just how all the practitioners talk to each other, which is quite nice. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what Loughborough do, but we have like ATS under that, which is like what most of our guys are on, because the EdCap one's just not got, it supports maybe 40 people in the whole uni, and that's like all sports. So it's like, and especially everyone's staying around. So like all the Olympians are like staying here and taking up all the spots. So then we're all fighting it out for the rest of them. But I think the ATS one's so like really, really similar. It's like so comprehensive, it's fine, which means like the whole club gets like enough support.
I think you'll be all right staying on that funding, but yeah, I think you'll be okay. One thing you mentioned earlier, obviously, was kind of, I guess, a couple of things. Wanting to peak and do really well when you're older, sort of into your late 20s and your 30s. And another thing you mentioned was how, as the distance gets longer, your physiology is better, right? And it points towards wanting to do longer distances. Have you thought about things like the marathon, or is it way too early to start even thinking about it?
I saw that question coming. Yeah, basically, unfortunately, like from all the physiology tests we've done, which are obviously only part of it, I basically have to do the marathon, but I'm not going to do that for a really long time. I have no interest yet, and like I really want to get the most out of, like that's why I want to get the most out of the 15 now, and then just really hammer the 5K for a couple of years. But like long term, yeah, everyone keeps saying that to me. You're not like, yeah, unfortunately, I think it looks fun, but it's just not something I'd want to do now, which I don't think you should do now anyway. Like your body can't take it this young. But I guess when you get like 28, 30, 32, like it'll be a fun thing to do. And I think even just like recreationally, I think it'd be quite fun to travel around and do some marathons just as a hobby jogger one day, like with kids like in the 40s, but that's a long way away. So that's fine.
Right, in the 40s, you're still a professional these days. Hey, World Juniors last year in Lima. I think that was a really interesting competition. I mean, what did you learn from it? Obviously, it was a unique place to have a championship, which I think often in your senior career, you're going to get that. You're going to get some very challenging environments where you need to go and you need to perform at. I mean, Tokyo at the World Champs this year is going to be extremely hot. Lima, was that altitude a little bit? Was there a little bit altitude, or was that just Cali a few years ago? Lima was
I don't think
sea level, was it?
And it wasn't even hot. It was very British.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, but it was probably a bit humid. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it was a great race. We found out once we got there that we had a heat, which is a bit annoying because like half the reason I wanted to do the 3K was because I was like, great, a straight final. But so it definitely changed it up, and I think it was actually, now I look back, and to be honest, even at the time I was like, actually this is really convenient because you don't get to practice like a lot of heats and finals. So I think even just there was like 24 hours between the two. So just having, which is not long for a 3K, I don't think. Maybe I'm lying. I really think it was, because they had to put it in last minute. But it was really good practice. I think obviously I always find, and I think a lot of people agree, like heats are like by far the most stressful. And then I ended up going in the final and like getting a PB there, which was a massive confidence boost. Because even like, not that you don't run a championship race for the time, but it basically was just a time trial, you know, because they were going so fast. So I was quite like, that was definitely a big confidence booster, come off like racing hard the day before, recovering as much as you can, and then coming out and doing a good time. I think I'd been a bit nervous going into it. I had like a really rocky August in many ways. Like I was working as a house parent and just got really sleep deprived because they wouldn't go to bed. And then I crashed my car really badly. Like I completely flipped it. And then had to have like surgery on my hand, which was it was like even just like having surgery on your hand is so like rubbish, like not that relevant. But then I couldn't swim and I could like, it just like threw it all about. And it was probably just more mentally draining than anything, but we were lucky because like the champs were the end of August, so it was fine. But it was like not the best run up we've ever had, but it was a really good championships and a really good team. Like in fact the team was probably, I'm remembering like that under-20 team was one of the best I've ever seen. Like everyone was so supportive. Sometimes maybe you get little cliques like as you'd expect, or like people who were quite quiet, but you didn't even have that. Like everyone was like united as one, which was quite cool.
Yeah, it was a high performing team as well. Yeah, I always find World Juniors interesting because you can be a real hotshot European or Brit and you go over there and it's like you can get it handed to you a little bit, can't you?
Quite,
but
yeah,
you held
I enjoyed
your own
that.
very well.
Well, I also knew, is it like I don't really look at like Para 10 or World Athletics or any of them, so I don't really know. But I'd been told like if you come top 8, you get like, it comes up on your little World Athletics profile.
Yeah, honours.
So
it's in the honours list.
I was in the last lap and I was like, I'm coming 8th. And I was like, no way do I come 9th. Like at least 10th is a bit away, you know what I mean? And so I was just happy to have a little honour. I was like, oh, how exciting.
Yeah. Top 8 in the world. Congrats.
Top 8, but 8th. But that doesn't say
yeah. Do you, okay then, let's get down to it. Do you see Innes as a rival? Does what Innes does on the track, does that phase you at all?
I think what's quite nice is we're different people at different points, you know what I mean? I always think, especially over the past 2 years, whatever if this trend carries on, it'll be great. Whatever she runs like 1 year, I get there the next year, which is a little bit frustrating, but also at the same time, you can only jump so much in 1 year. And I was talking to people, I was like, sometimes they were like, oh, what's that like? And I was like, I mean, it doesn't bother me because I'm someone who can I quite like just focusing on myself. And at the end of the day, like you're competing against yourself. So I just want to see how good I can get over the next year. And like realistically, it's not like I can go run like an 8:32 yet, but like in the future, it's just like a different path. I think it does take patience. And especially when people like yourselves, like a lot of people bring it up, they're like, oh, there's a rivalry. I'm like, oh, thank you. And to be honest, given how fast she runs and like how much pedigree she has, I'm honoured to be called a rival, which you shouldn't really say as a rival. But I do think like in the future, I think I'm on like maybe a bit of a slower trajectory, but I think especially if we both get to seniors healthy, I think that could actually be really, really fun. Like, and at the moment I need to up my game. I'm always just like, cool people say that, like, oh, it's such a cool rivalry. I'm like, I need to step it up if we want to get that, like, one of those like proper classical like rivalries from the past. But yeah, maybe one day, which I think is quite cool. But I think she's made a massive difference to like the under-20 sport. Like, and a few people, like Phoebe as well, even just Shakira, like these people who are running so fast, like drag everyone along with them. It's like, I'll go run 8:55 and I was like, oh, like, that's okay. And Dean's like, I think you're forgetting that's not bad. You know what I mean? Like, and like the year before, Innes would be running 8:55s at like English schools. It'd be like, that I was like, my God, like that's the best thing I've ever seen. And now because everyone's run a bit faster, I'm like, oh, it's not that great. But I think it's good because it keeps you like hungry for it, which is quite nice. And it's all of Britain, especially in the 20s, seems to be absolutely booming at the moment. And I think it must be linked a bit.
You're dead right. I think it's great to see, but you know, the pair of you do so well. But that age group, under 20 women, the same with the guys, like when you go to, it is a bit of a drop off age group. But to see it, so, you know, still so deep and lots of the people performing at a really high level, I think it's great. So I think there is a knock-on effect. I'd agree with that.
I think even just like in the 1500, like I remember like I think it was Ella Greenray running like, or even Phoebe when she first ran like 4:12 was like, I remember her doing that. I remember being like, that's insane. And now I'll go run like 4:13 low and it's like 7th, 6th on the rankings or something. You know what I mean though? Like it's like, wow. And obviously I do think there's a lot of it's like the shoes, the bicarb, the beach, and especially like when I run 5K on the roads, I can't remember which one it was. It was like, at the time it was a record and I was like, but it's not really, because there's a lot of people who have run maybe just below that when they were running like 15:30s, but it was 10 years ago. Like if I was having to run that race in those shoes, I'd have been well slower. So I think you've got to like respect those athletes in the past.
But I think to put what you're saying into
crazy.
context, the European under 20 standard is 420, and women have that this year, which is crazy.
And I didn't know this until after Watford, because I was like, that was okay. And Dean was, in fact, it was my mum who called me. She was like, you should look at the rankings because you might feel better about it. Like, not that I was sad about it. I was just like, it's meh. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay. And then you look at the European, like, athletics rankings, and the top 9 are all British, bar one girl. Like, it's insane.
It's ridiculous. That is actually ridiculous. 10 women have
we could
European
just
standard.
clean sweep the final. Like, and there's more below that. And I almost feel a bit like I'm more like 3K, 5K. I'm bloody gassed about it because some of those girls like have done everything you asked from them. They're running like 4:14s. So they're probably not going to, like, some of them aren't going to get in. They can't all get in. It's like, wow, like that's rough.
Yeah. And then I'm just looking now, 6 of you have the standard for the 3,000. Oh my God. And 10 have the standard for the 5,000 as well. Yeah. British under 20 women's right now is on fire.
It's going to make the trials so exciting though. So, sometimes you go to a trials and there's only like 2 people with the standard, and unless this is like a time trial race, a championship's going to be tactical. So you're like, end of the day, it's those 2 people and whatever. I'm really quite excited to watch the rest of them. I think it's really quite cool.
Yeah. Are you working on your kick finish?
Yeah, a little bit. In fact, we are, yeah. I'm just no good. Like, I'm really trying. Like, we're working on the sprints and the speed, but it's just something that's very, very unnatural to me. And in fact, we did this test the other day on the bike. It's like, how much lactate can you produce? It's like a measure of your like anaerobic system's ability. Mine's like, it ranges from like 0.2 to 1 point something. And I was 0.2. Okay. Virtually untrained, but it's good because there's scope there. Apparently you can train that system, so it's fine. And they were like, some of the interventions they've used in like the scientific literature have only been done on unfit people. But he's like, actually my anaerobic system's so bad it might basically be that of like, it's the interventions might work quite well because it's like just completely square one, which is good because then again, like, it's just like, oh great, like there's scope to improve it. I think sometimes that's quite nice to hear. We'll see.
Yeah. Stuff like that, obviously studying sports science yourself, are you like really interested in kind of looking at your own physiology in relation to like the things you're studying at uni?
Yeah, I love it. Like and the thing is, I feel like some people are like interested in physiology because it's like a sport thing, but I'm just genuinely love it. Like I really enjoyed, like I was a bit of a geek. I really enjoyed biology and chemistry at like A levels, and it's basically that, but very sports specific. So then I like we watched a load of lab tests on our like training week, and it was really interesting to see how they did it, and then I can just compare it to what I did, which was quite nice. Even just knowing they do like, and I'm gonna do the best I can anyway, but they do the VO2 max test on the treadmill, which is like the one where you run until you drop. It's like 6 to 8 minutes. They actually get the VO2 max reading like a minute before you stop running, but they don't tell you that. They tell you to like push until exhaustion, but actually once the oxygen like intake line or whatever flattens off, you've reached your value and it's not getting any higher. So even he mentioned that in the training week, and I was like, it's good to know, really handy information. But I quite like that test anyway, because actually I say that it's rubbish because you always lose, like you always drop, and it's like,
I just think
I fell off
testing on
it
treadmills,
once.
you've got to be.
I had to wear a harness, and I went out the back, and since I fell off the back, they've tightened the harnesses so much more for everybody. It was bad. I like whacked my knee and all. Oh god, but it was funny.
Jeez, they not have the crash mat at the back for you, waiting for you to.
Well, they had the harness, but I don't think no one's fallen off in years.
Right.
And I was just
no one's
really
pushed themselves hard
tired.
enough. Yeah.
I hope that's either that or I'm just clumsy. So.
Should we get into quick fire? Finish up. Have you ever been drug tested for a start?
Yeah. And
you have. Have you got a funny? Here we go. Have you got a funny drugs testing story?
Yeah, I don't say this on very often because it was not good. I was like, it was in Thailand because obviously if you get a world medal, you've got to. But it was like one of those like toilets that you have to like squat down, like it's Thailand, so it's really not good. And I missed the cup. It was awful, and then I had to stay for like another 2 hours. But at the time, it was like the most embarrassing thing to ever have. And I was sat there, and I was like, oh my god, but it was fine. But then all my friends went off and had fun, and I was stuck there because like I didn't need a wee. Well, bad day.
That is a funny drug testing story. Better than we expected when we wrote that question down.
It's not ideal.
Yeah. What's the worst thing you've ever read about yourself or heard about yourself, maybe on a podcast?
On a podcast? I don't think I've ever been. Oh, after Liverpool, you guys are... Oh, in fact, I listened to this podcast because you were just talking about how much Innes won by so... And to be fair, she won by loads. But you really rubbed it in. Like, no. But I've been called a lot of things by Facebook men, I think. Quite sickly, apparently. I thought, oh, that's very nice. Me and my friend, to be fair, went through the comments and we were having an absolute... Like, it was one of the best afternoons because we were just absolutely pissing ourselves.
I'm glad
there you go, Lump.
the funny side of it. Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious. I was like, who are these people?
Do you have a favorite athlete on the circuit? And I'm intrigued as well. Who did you look up to sort of growing up? Do you want to mirror anyone's performances? Someone inspired you?
Like a few. I think Jess Judd was someone I definitely looked up to a lot, mainly because, well, we had the same name, so I always like, oh, cute. But she was obviously so talented as a junior, and like I was like nowhere near anything like that. But I always got told, like, and my coach would sometimes, like a very long time ago, they'd be like, oh, if you're good as a junior, you're just not going to make it as a senior. And like, and to be fair, like a lot of under 15s who are talented don't make it through. So I was pretty sure that I wouldn't really see under 18 age group, you know what I mean? But then I could see she was even better and she made it through. So I was like, oh, if she can do it, like surely we can. But someone like Megan Keith as well, who's like much closer in age, but watching her perform, I love it. She's got to be one of my favourite athletes of all time, especially like Dublin. I remember like watching her win there from like a hotel. Oh, it was awesome. I thought she just performs every time. Like, it's incredible.
Yeah, Dublin and Brussels. She was just off the charts in Brussels as well.
Yeah. That was and that course, like to be that fast, like on that much.
Yeah.
And Innies
she
too,
was
like
so
both
good
of them.
on
Like
that day.
they were both just miles away. Like, it was incredible.
Great. If you could change one thing about running, what would it be?
Oh, I think I'd generally get rid of like Pyro 10. Like the comparison. Like, just do your own thing.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I don't know. It drives me mad. It's more that other people are always like, I'm like, I don't care. I'm doing what I'm doing. It's okay. That's right. Maybe that's a bad response.
We'd be stuffed. We'd be stuffed if Pyro 10 didn't exist. No,
True,
but
yeah.
I kind of that's a cool concept. I think a lot of people would actually support. The Pyro 10 has a great place in our sport, but I think a lot of people out there would probably agree with you. Actually, unpopular opinion.
It was brilliant. We did a bit of I've been getting into commentary very low key, and we did our first one, which was like in stadium commentary. Like me and Eleanor Strevens, who's like basically a flatmate, and we stalked everybody on Pyro 10. That's the first time I've been on in a while, and it was so much fun. To be fair, like that was good. Like, and we got all the facts about everyone, and then half the people didn't run, and then we had nothing to say. It was awful.
I know. Tell me about it. It's gutting when you can't use the stats that you've researched. It's heartbreaking.
We had a 5K and he didn't come. I was like, oh, man. Oh well.
You had laps worth of info on an athlete. Oh dear. Come on then, tell us your pre-race ritual. Do you have any pre-race tunes that you listen to?
My music's not very good at the moment. Like, I'm stuck on the family Spotify. But like I like the same sort of stuff, like the Arctic Monkeys, the Wombats, the Wallows. But I do have a ritual, which is like I just go really mute. Like, I'm used to talking so much. I used to basically talk myself to the race and then like get to the start line and be like, oh, what am I actually doing? Like, I'm not really thought about this. So now, like, pretty much from when I leave my house, I get the music in. I don't really talk to anyone, and I'll always for like probably like an hour and a half do like imagery. So like put like my hoodie over my head and just think it through, like all the different scenarios. Sometimes it's just a good song and I'm just singing along, you know, but like a mix of that just to like really be ready for like what you're going to do in the race, which has made such a difference. I started maybe like 2 years ago and I should do it more really, and I'm going to definitely. But it massively changed how I race. And there's a couple of races where I wouldn't have done as well as I did without having like thought about it before. So now I'm like addicted. But people take photos all the time and send it to me because it's like really embarrassing. So I'm just like lying on the side of the track, like sprawled out. So I need to find somewhere better to go.
Yeah, no, I can imagine like if you are a bit of a big character and you are someone who knows everyone, you love to have a chat with everyone. When you go to a race, do you sometimes worry that you're coming across rude when you're just sort of like in that mindset hour and a half before, 2 hours before, just blanking the hell out of people?
I think, well, the thing is, if you lie down and like put something over your head, you can pretend you don't know they're there. Even if you can hear them, you're just like, oh, I'm just asleep. You know what I mean? I think, it's always hard once you even just going, getting a number and then getting to where you want to be. I always find so many people to talk to and then I get distracted. Like, then I'm like, but Dean's quite more controlling of that now, where he's like, right, come on. And I'm like, oh yeah, sorry, goodbye. And like, even just if I'm with him, for example, he'd be like, right, she needs to go now. And I'm like, oh, that's true. But like all my friends and all my inner circle know, like, expect that it's the same routine. So it's like quite well established now, which is nice.
Absolutely. And then just to finish up, Jess, you are a New Balance athlete. Can you talk us through your shoe rotation? What are you wearing at the moment?
I have like the same 3 pairs. I think the 1080s are like the go-to for all your easy runs. Like if you're not sure, you put your 1080s on, because if your legs are dead, they make you feel absolutely fine. And then for sessions and tempo, always the Rebel, really like versatile. You can use it you could probably easy run in it, but I wouldn't. You could do whatever you want. If I'm really, really tired, you put the more on because they're so squishy. Or if you've got a long way to walk, because they really protect your legs. And then just like their MD spikes. And that's it. I probably use like 4 pairs of shoes. It's quite handy.
No carbon
carbons.
flats? Is that right? Yeah, no carbons.
The spikes are carbon, but I
but no carbon flats now.
No.
Wow.
We talked a lot to like Peter Thompson in America, who's someone who we were friends with through Matt, and he did a lot of research into like the biokinetic chain and stuff. And also just, I think mentally, like if you're doing all your training in carbons, then you get to the race and feel the same, but we don't do any of it really except the spikes in carbon. And then you get to the race and you put your good shoes on and it's great.
Yeah. Is that a Birmingham thing? Does everyone do that in Birmingham?
No, so sometimes sometimes in reps, I think, oh God, like maybe I'm a bit unfit. And then I realise I'm like, oh, no. It's fine. They're in carbon plates. But I think it's definitely popular. A good few people do that, but it's a bit of a mix. Some people tempo in carbons. I think that's silly. I say that to their face. But it's fair enough.
You'll be enforcing that when you're a third year. You'll be saying no carbons.
Honestly, carbon police.
Yeah, no carbons. That would not go down well. That would go really bad, especially people who train for the splits. Like the Strava would look so much worse, wouldn't it? So they probably wouldn't agree.
Are you on Strava?
I am, but I'm private. So when people follow me and I accept it and they can't see anything, always makes me laugh.
I bet they're gutted.
Yeah.
Jess, look, it's been great to talk, and we wish you all the best. So you're going to run the Euro Trials. Obviously, that's probably your next big race. Are you going to be at the Watford Grand Prix on the 12th?
We are running in Marseille, 3K, which is quite exciting. The same weekend.
Nice.
Otherwise, I would have been at Watford because that's pretty cool.
Same weekend, 3,000 in Marseille. Cool. And then you're going to do Euro Trials, I presume, and then hopefully Europeans.
Yeah, I hope so. We'll see. But it should be a fun trip if we get there.
Awesome. Well, look, best of luck with it all. It's been an absolute pleasure to chat. Great podcast. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you very much.